Premier Doug Ford in Mississauga this morning making an announcement. Let's listen in.
Back against auto theft and put the criminals behind bars where they belong. It will curb the rise of insurance premiums, cut off financial support to organized crime networks, and help people feel safer in their homes and on the streets. Friends, we're doing everything we can to support our police services as we work together to tackle crime in our communities. From making investments in new technologies and innovative police initiatives, fighting guns and gangs, to bringing in reinforcements, we'll do whatever it takes to keep people safe in our communities. Thank you all for joining us. May God bless the men and women in uniform, and will God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We'll now go to reporters' questions. Please identify yourselves by name and outlet. It'll be one question and one follow-up. First question.
Morning, Premier Richard Southern from City News. How are you?
Good, Richard. How are you?
I'm all right. Being that it is Friday,
Yes.
I'm going to start on an alcohol-related question, if you don't mind.
Sure, not a problem.
You told me earlier this year you still intend on keeping your long-standing promise of bringing beer and wine to corner stores.
Yep.
To do that, you got to scrap the deal with the beer store. There's been reporting that that decision has been made. My question, Premier, is I know negotiations are ongoing,
Yep.
but can you tell us today, come 2025, will the beer store be no more?
Well, we're working alongside with the beer store. We're in negotiations, and we're going to keep our promise to make sure that we have convenience and selection across the province, like you see across the entire world. But we want to be fair, and we're going to be continuing to negotiate with the beer store, and they'll still play an important role in the whole system.
The Center for Mental Health and Addiction has spoken out against this plan of yours. I mean, they point at other jurisdictions in Canada that have done this, and they say it's led to a lot more alcohol-related deaths, a lot more trouble. Premier, does that give you pause?
No, not at all. You know, I respect the work they do, and they do really good work. But listen, we're the only jurisdiction in the entire world that you can't go into the retail store and buy a case of beer or a bottle of wine when you're buying a steak for a dinner or whatever you're buying. It just doesn't make sense, so we're moving forward with this.
Hi, Premier. Lorenda Redekop with CBC.
Hi, Lorenda.
Hi. We're now hearing that Stellantis will have up to 900 foreign workers at its EV battery plant. This is a plant that Ontario taxpayers contributed $5 billion to. I know that your ministers have pointed to the federal government's responsibility, but your government also put up a lot of money
Sure.
and signed the contract. So was there no language there protecting, ensuring that it would be Canadian workers?
Well, there will be Canadian workers. They promised 2,500 Canadian workers. They're going to deliver 2,500 Canadian workers. But when you're building a battery plant, well, first of its kind, the technology, they understand the technology. They're only coming here part-time. They're going to set up the plant. They're going to do the training, and then they're going to go back. It's no different than someone buying a press. You have people over to set it up, train it, and then move forward. But that's gonna have spin-off jobs of 7 to 1, 8 to 1. It's going to create over 10,000 spin-off jobs, and it's great for the people of Windsor and southwestern Ontario, and we're quite excited about it.
We're in Mississauga, Bonnie Crombie's neck of the woods, and this weekend, Liberals will start voting to elect their next leader. Out of the candidates running, we've only ever heard you talk about her. Are you scared at the prospect of Bonnie Crombie as Liberal leader?
No, that's was that a joke or no? But anyways, you say you're in Bonnie Crombie's neighborhood. I call it, PC neighborhood because we have every single seat in Peel region, right up from Caledon over to Brampton, over to Mississauga. So anyways, I say bring it on.
Hi, Premier. Siobhan Morris from CTV
Hi, Siobhan.
News. On the beer store and how would it change the complexion of the LCBO? Are you comfortable with letting go of that big tax revenue if you're putting alcohol available for places like corner stores, like other places maybe I haven't imagined yet?
No, we're still going to see the revenues, the tax revenues, but all we want to do is make it convenient for people and have a broader selection right across the board. We will be continuing to work with a beer store owned by 3 international companies, which I have no problem with, but here and there, we're going to make sure we have convenience for the people of Ontario, just like the rest of the world does.
And the Canadian Muslim Affairs Council are calling on you to remove Goldie Gamari from your caucus. They take issue with some of the things she's been saying online, saying that she's perpetuating anti-Islamic hate, that she is equating Muslim Ontarians with extremism. Have you had any conversations with Ms. Gamari? Do you plan to remove her from caucus?
Well, the answer is no. I'm not removing her, but she has really been a strong voice for anti-Islamophobia, making sure we have zero tolerance. Folks, this is weighing on me, and I'm going to address it. No matter if it's anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, it has no place here in Ontario. In Ontario, when you live here, there's 120 nationalities, 200 languages being spoke, but it weighs on everyone right now. We want peace here in Ontario. As for what's happening over in the war, hopefully they'll find peace, but that's up to the federal government to work on that end. But I just want peace. Like, Ontario is a peaceful place. And when we see protests, when we see businesses get their windows spray painted and all the other nonsense, it's unacceptable. So I have a great relationship with the Muslim community. I have a great relationship with the Jewish community. And anyone outside of those communities, I can assure you, they want people to live peacefully here in Ontario. As simple as that. And I'm confident that will happen.
Good morning, Premier. This is Nitin Chopra from Prime Asia TV.
Hi, Nit.
Hi. Premier, do you remember when this carjacking process started in Canada? Because 4 years ago or 5 years ago, we never heard of the carjackings in Canada. It was one of the safest countries. So what is the reason this all started? Did the mafia, international mafia, came from outside the countries because these people are the Canadians? If I talk about the value also, 24 cars in a day means 8,700 vehicles in a year, means approximately 37 million in a year times 5 years.
Yep.
The figures are very high. And insurance is in this. What is the core reason this all started, Premier?
Well, before I hand it over to Chief Nish, because he understands this better than I do, but what I do understand is they've gone from carjacking and stealing cars in the middle of the night to kicking people's doors in. And that's when you cross the line on any of those issues. And I have to call out the federal government on the Canadian Border Services, their officers down there. So we have, what I understand, we have 50 officers checking everything that comes into the country and one checking everything on the way out. They need to fund more officers to support our Canadian Border Services officers on the front lines, because they do an incredible job. And as for these criminals kicking doors in, just imagine you're lying in bed and you hear your door being kicked in. That's terrifying, actually. And they're going to kick the wrong person's door in one day, and then there'll be a price to pay. But these criminals need to go to jail. And the JPs out there, Justice of the Peace, nothing is more frustrating to myself or police officers than we arrest these bad guys, you slap them on the wrist, and you let them out the next day just to go out and steal other cars. It's your duty as a Justice of the Peace to keep these guys locked up behind bars as long as you possibly can. Bottom line, you need to do it. Sorry, Chief Nish, you want to?
Thank you, Premier. And Nitin, just to speak to the why we are seeing such a trend, it's due to multiple factors that are all environmental. Post-COVID, post the global supply chain for vehicles, the chip shortages, we saw the need for vehicles to be internationally obtained. And so the theft and the ease of theft is so prevalent that the ability to export them is great. We've seen the trends increase. The technology has changed. Auto manufacturers, our industry partners are seeing it. It's hard to stay ahead of the ability for people to steal them. And right now, the risk reward for stealing a vehicle and the effortless ability to get it on a cargo container or get it fraudulently resold here domestically or used for other criminal activity is so great. And within minutes, it's gone. The fact that people are aware that it's that easy and that it is seen at the lowest level as just a theft of a property is part of the issue. It is actually funding right behind drugs and fraud. It is the largest source for organized crime internationally, and we're seeing that given the proximity of us to ports of exit and the fact that 75% of all automobiles sold in Ontario are here in the GTHA, this tends to be the hotbed for it.
Thank you.
You've been listening in to an update there from Peel Police and Premier Doug Ford on new funding initiatives towards community policing.